Good day, dear viewers, and welcome to the third session of our webinar series on accelerating investment to eliminate female genital mutilations. We have already had two successful sessions with high-level professionals and activists from UNFPA, Defense Defenders, Youth of Africa, and we are here today to listen more from the youths. You know, the youths have a vital role to play in the attainment of UN 2030 agenda for sustainable development. So before listening to our youths in the house, we would like to have an excerpt of FabAfriq magazine's recent special edition on female genital mutilation and a link to access an online copy of the magazine. Thank you. Hello, once more, dear viewers. Today in the house, we have three very vibrant youths, and we have Queen Deborah, we have Chelangat Mercy, and we have Leshan Kereto. So, Leshan Kereto is a 24-year-old student leader and an activist, anti-FGM activist, and the chairperson of United Nations Population Fund Youth Advisory Panel. He is a physician associate student, clinical officer student leader pursuing his bachelor in clinical medicine and surgery at Egerton University. He is the founder of Kereto Africa, a community based organization that is widely involved in sexual and reproductive health rights advocacy, mainly focusing on advocating against female genital mutilation, gender based violence, sex and parts. So I think while he's talking, he's going to tell us more on what he does. Second, we have Queen Deborah Chisom Igwe. Deborah is lead ambassador to Inspiring Generation and Humanity Support Foundation Africa. She is a hardworking, creative, committed, and resourceful person with an outstanding experience to derive the implementation of ending FGM, violence against women and girls, and gender based violence. Third on our list, we have Mercy Yego. Mercy currently serves as the regional president for East and South Africa for the Global Youth Consortium against FGM. She also does multiple consultancies and volunteer roles with multilateral organizations BISHWA, such as Visual Leadership and Mentorship Program, Comzin Development Foundation, Dromedic Healthcare, and Tumaini African Knowledge Center in the areas of law, public health, research, advocacy, and policy. So that is a brief bio of our speakers, and I'm sure they're going to tell you more about their what they do. So we will go right over to the first speaker, who is Mercy. But before going over, I'm going to bring all of them the into this the hall.
Into this.
Okay, so we have our speakers.
Okay.
So we are going to begin with Mercy. So Mercy, can you tell us more about yourself and what you do? And you tell us why FGM is a call for concern to you. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me clearly. My name is Mercy Chelangat Yego, as I've been introduced by Elomo, and I am from Uganda. I am a lawyer by profession, and I do have a master's in public health. And I don't think I will need to go through over the intro that much. But yes, I have been involved in advocacy for the last 3 years, and I am passionate about women's rights and children's rights, and I'm a Pan African at heart. So issues that concern women in Africa and children in Africa are core to me, and they touch deep down in my heart. Briefly about my work in relation to FGM and why it is important. I I come from a community that practices female genital mutilation. That is the Sebei community in Uganda. Um, and from a young age, I used to be terrified, about, whenever I would hear about girls being circumcised. We had, I'll give a brief story that was quite interesting for me, that always put terror in my mind. When I was little, we had a maid that would always tell me that your grandmother is going to come and they will take you for circumcision. So every time I'd see my grandmother, that was always, oh my God, is she coming to take me today? Is she coming to take me today? So it was only something that, scared me in a way. I didn't understand what it was. And as I got older, I came to see and hear of the stories and actually see people that had undergone female genital mutilation, and the stories are not pleasing. The experiences are horrible. They are a serious and a gross violation of human rights. So, why is FGM a call for concern for me? Women's rights. Women's rights are human rights, and women's rights ought to be protected across the globe and everywhere in our societies and in our communities. And women do contribute to the well-being of our societies as equally as men do. And it is very, very important that women are protected, girl children are protected from the practice of female genital mutilation. Looking at the different statistics as we have seen across on you know the the grievances and the effects of female genital mutilation, none of them are for the positive. They are all for the negative. And it is very, very important that we put that into consideration and look at protecting women and abandoning the practice. Not even one single day have we had that FGM has improved any woman's life, has improved any girl's lives, but rather it has always been death and loss and pain. And this is something that we do not want to see women and girls in Africa continue to undergo. And we do not want to continue passing on generational trauma from one generation to another through practices, cultural practices, and that continue to violate the rights of women and our ability to enjoy life fully as human beings. Thank you.
Okay. Wow. This whole aspect of female genital mutilation, I feel many are still very ignorant about it, because I wouldn't deceive you. I used to hear about female genital mutilation, but I'd never really paid attention to it until when we started working on this female genital mutilation magazine. Then it occurred to me that I could be sitting somewhere and maybe the lady next to me has been cut and she's not the same like me. So it is so disturbing. I mean, so thank you. We'll go straight over to Leshan. Hi, Leshan.
Hi, Elomo. Hi, everyone.
Hi. So, Leshan, we want to hear from you. You could tell us more about yourself and what you do. Thank you. And why FGM is a call for consent to you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Elomo, and to all of our viewers as well as my colleague panelists. My name is Leshan Kereto from Kenya. I am the chairperson of the UNFPA Youth Advisory Panel. I also serve with Mercy as in the Global Youth Consortium Against FGM as the Partnerships and Resource Mobilization Undersecretary. And I've been an anti-FGM activist for 6 years now. It's been a lot of work advocating against FGM as one of the biggest concerns that I feel is a priority when it comes to our advocacy in reproductive health. I Much of my work really involves anti-FGM activism. As you can see, I'm currently in a car because we are in the field advocating against FGM and speaking to young girls about it in one of the most interior places around Kenya. So this is a conversation that we've taken to the grassroots one because it's a big concern. Growing up, I thought it was normal for my colleague girls and women to undergo FGM. I'm from the Maasai community, which practices FGM, and we practice as if it's normal. We look forward to it and we celebrate it when we were younger. But later on, after my conversations with one of the girls that we used to help because we used to fight poverty, I later realized that once a girl undergoes FGM, their mindset changes. They become focused now on being a woman. They knew that they cannot listen to their teachers in class because probably the teacher teaching may have not undergone FGM. So it becomes a conversation that she feels that she's now grown up. The next thing she's thinking about is teenage sex, ends up in teenage pregnancy, and once you are pregnant from this community, you get married. So this girl is going into marriage, having no education. They do not have any information on sexual reproductive health. Their bodies are not ready since they're about 12 to 13. And the best thing that they know is all about giving birth and, of course, with the effects that FGM comes on board. That changed my perspective when it comes to reproductive health advocacy. I thought that I think the best approach was to remove the bad things first before we progress on the good ones. That day, I decided to become an anti-FGM activist, and I've been advocating for the past few years, really telling the community about FGM, teaching it in my community, teaching about it in so many other places, because I think FGM is a priority for all of us to really discuss. Because one, why do I believe that FGM is a concern? FGM is a big concern. One, because of the numbers. Look at the 200 million women. Look at the 4 million women in Kenya. Look at the number of women who are susceptible to FGM due to COVID, 570,000, that we are looking at them having to undergo the trauma, the pain, the overbleeding, the fistula that comes with it, the other effects that are really coming with it with FGM. And we are trying to make it not a priority. I don't think so. I think it's a priority because many of these women come to suffer in silence. Many of these women end up having fistula. Fistula is one component that is really embarrassing. And look at, when a woman cannot hold back her urine and feces, and they get both, they are both mixed, and you cannot sleep with the man because you end up soiling the bed. That is a priority. That is something that we should look into as a priority. And that's why I thought FGM is really something that we want to all fight against. FGM is killing women. Every day we are we are receiving a lot of cases that, so-and-so has died because of FGM. So-and-so has overbled during giving birth because of FGM. I think if it's FGM that is causing that, it's a concern. It's a primary concern for every young person. It's a concern for men and boys. It's a concern for the government. It's a concern for religious leaders. It's a concern for all of our communities. It's something that we want to look into because, one, women are the ones who give us life. We are 50%, but the 50% on the side of women give birth to 50% of the men. So if we are destroying their lives, if we make their lives harder, then we are risking extinction. And FGM is one of the reasons that is leading to that. And so I think one of the primary goals that we have in life is to survive. We need to take FGM as a priority if we are going to look at things, if we are going to look at the community continuing. FGM is a priority. FGM is a big component that really adds into gender inequality. And if we want to end gender inequality, then FGM should not be happening. That's why I think it's a concern. Thank you so much, and back to you, Elomo.
Wow, thank you so much, Leshan. And it is quite impressive to see a young guy, let me call it that way, advocating against FGM, because I think that the more men we have to fight this cause, the more we are going to eliminate FGM. And it comes to my mind that I keep asking myself, I didn't know but more serious issues in the society, more serious problems to solve than concentrating on a woman's body to cut her. How important is that? You see. So I think our tech speaker Queen, we lost her, but I think she'll be back. So we'll just go over to we'll go once more to Mercy to find out the challenges. What challenges have you been facing or have you faced, Mercy, while trying to eliminate FGM? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elomo. So there have been a number of challenges that we have faced as young people in our advocacy, in our work to fight against FGM, and not only us as young people, but activists and people who are passionate about ending FGM in general in the communities. I know one of the things is now the secretive, mutilation and cutting of women and girls, the practice happening secretly in communities. And you show up to a place, and you assume that this, a child disappears from school, and you, by the time you get to know about it, maybe they are, you only get to know about it when they are hospitalized, or they are, near death experiences, or even when a child has actually, passed on, or a woman has lost her life, is when we get to know about, you know uh, that the practice has been happening in some communities. So the we've had laws being put in place. For example, Uganda and Kenya and Tanzania, we have laws against FGM. Recently, we've had the ESC bill being put in place. We have the East African Community Anti-FGM bill that is soon to be passed into law. That advocates and asks countries to to totally push for the ban of the practice in their communities. But as activists, some of the challenges we face is hostility from communities, lack of clear and streamlined support from different government agencies in fighting against the practice. For example, sometimes you could report a case of female genital mutilation in a community, and you go to the police, and you reach there and you find that the case may not be recorded, because the police station, the police officer will tell you, I'm a one-man army, I cannot fight against a whole community of people. You want me to die while I am following you to go ascertain the situation. So some of these things really curtail the work and make it difficult for people to voice out, for activists to voice out their concerns, and try to push for the protection of women and girls in the communities where FGM is being practiced. And then there's also the aspect of non-prioritization, like you have said, like you earlier mentioned, where situations where you find people saying, is it really of concern? Sometimes you'd say, oh, women are still being circumcised, girls that at risk of being circumcised, or being cut, or being mutilated, and all you are told is that more important than than electricity? Is that more important than putting food on the table? Everything that pertains to the protection of a woman and a girl is important. And so you find stakeholders who do not have interest in supporting the cause is also a challenge that we face in advocating for the protection of women and girls in communities. So just to put it out in pointers, one, lack of support from different stakeholders like the police. In certain situations, you find that the police are not ably supported, or some of them do shy away from following up on these cases. Not only shying away, but assume that the public is bigger than the law. Yeah, the perpetrators are bigger than the law, yet they are not bigger than the law, because once they are caught and they're apprehended, they do face the law. But that perception is one challenge. Second, of course, secrecy, that now moved to secretly practice female genital mutilation, and then the new aspect of medicalization of FGM, which makes it very swift and very easy. It makes it very difficult for people to identify women that are undergoing that have undergone FGM, because these things now happen in secret, and that has posed a threat in the fight against female genital mutilation. And also in some communities in East Africa, for example, the Somali community, mutilation of babies. It's gross, it's really painful to even think about it, but that is now where these inhuman people are getting into, where they choose to go ahead and mutilate babies. And those are some of the, you find now, if it's a baby in the confine of a home, it's quite difficult for a lot of activists to get there. But regardless, we still push, we still move on, we still advocate, we still fight for the rights of women and girls, and ensuring that even as the perpetrators get innovative, we also get innovative in our approaches to deal with female genital mutilation. Thank you. Back and over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mercy. Like you said, as they get innovative, we get innovative because we are certainly going to eliminate female genital mutilation, and I think it requires maximum collaboration from stakeholders to do this. So we have Queen here. We'd like to hear from Queen. Queen, can you tell us more about yourself and why FGM is a call for consent to you? Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, viewers. My name is Queen Deborah Chisom Igwe, a final year student of Ebonyi State University Economics Department and the lead ambassador of Inspiring Generation and Humanity Support Foundation, IGHUSUF Africa. Female genital mutilation is a concern to me because it's a violation against the rights of women and girls. It's of concern to me because it perpetuates the rights of women. And coming from the background, a state and community where FGM is practiced, is indeed not a good experience. You know, seeing girls, young women, adolescent girls, you know, experiencing FGM, considering the fact that they're going to face the pains, you know, the challenges that is associated with FGM. So it became a very big concern to me, and is something that we should work together to ensure that it's being eliminated. You know, most times when we talk about FGM, in some rural communities, people already see this act as culture, as their way of life, you know, is a normal thing to them. But then it's a concern to me because it's harmful, you know, it's harmful. That is why we must work together to ensure that FGM is being eliminated completely. For instance, I had a one-on-one talk with my grandma, late grandma, and she told me the reasons why FGM is being practiced back then in their days. And some practice it because they want to feel among in the community, in the society. And if you're not mutilated as a woman, you've not actually grown to be a woman. You will not have a say in the society. So some of them have their own reason, you know, for being mutilated. But then, because it's a harmful practice, it's a call for concern. And we must work together to make sure that this harmful practice is totally eliminated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mercy. And don't go away. We want to know the challenges you faced, maybe in your organization or in your advocacy against female genital mutilation. Thank you. Hello? Should I
Hello, I
repeat?
can hear you. Okay,
Yeah, we are
I can hear
asking
you.
you to tell us about the challenges you faced in your organization or in your activism against female genital mutilation.
Okay, one of the challenges is being able to convince the people in the rural communities, more especially the male. Those are one of that's one of our challenges, because when you go to tell them about FGM, already it's a norm to them, and you see some of them asking you, why are you telling us to, you know, abolish and abandon our culture, something that we are known for? So sometimes how to convince them is always the major challenge, but then we are able to conquer it by penetrating through community leaders, women-led organization, like women led organization, for instance, and also youth-led organization, the people that can help us to champion this awareness So getting them informed and also getting them, convincing them to abolish the harmful practices is one of the major challenges that we normally encounter. And also in reporting the case of FGM, for instance, people think, I don't know what to actually do because this thing is what we usually do. And sometimes some medical practitioners, they engage in it. And sometimes when you report the case, you see people are not, they don't always treat the matter. Reason being that they think that those people who act or who mutilate their children, they think maybe because they have money, they have a say, we can't actually challenge them. So most times to actually sensitize them and convince them is always the challenge. But to the glory of God, we are trying our possible best to ensure that everybody is carried along and the practices is being eliminated completely.
Okay, thank you, Mercy. And I would just like to mention that while we are having this conversation, you could, for the viewers, you can chip in your comments, your recommendation, because we are aware of the fact that it is afternoon and many people are at work. But this video is on our Facebook page, and we are going to have it on our YouTube channel, so people can also contribute to this conversation. So thank you, Mercy.
Deborah.
We are going to go over to, let me go over to Leshan. Hi, Leshan.
Hi,
So
Elomo.
we would just want to know, what are some of the most successful initiatives your organization has used to reduce the practice of female genital mutilation?
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much to my colleague panelists too, who are doing amazing work. I celebrate you. I think one of the most influential works that we've been able to do is, of course, we have been able to go to grassroots. We've gone to communities. We've taught about FGM in our local languages. We have gone into our community. We've gone into conferences. We've gone to other countries to advocate against FGM. But I think I will highlight some of the most outstanding works that I think are important in this conversation. One is the involvement of university students. In 2021, last year, I organized the first conference in my university where I am studying medicine there. I organized the first international conference on the International Day for Zero Tolerance Against FGM. And this conversation started as just a conversation that we had. But later on, I realized that it was one of the most innovative things that we ever did. One, because we talked to university students who had no idea about FGM. We talked to university students who are graduating next, and they are the most influential people in their communities. They are role models to the young girls and women. And we talked to them about FGM. We educated them about how they can fight against FGM. And for many years, they never thought that it is a priority. But after this conversation, we were able to convince not university students who didn't think it is urgent. And for the fact that they realized we recruited thousands of champions who later on now saw the impact. They saw the videos that we were showing off about FGM in itself, how it was happening. They saw the impact that FGM is happening. And now we are happy that they're able to change their communities, because back home, they are asked by their younger sisters, is FGM good? Their opinion really matters. And after we changed their opinion on FGM, it became better. And now we have formed students committees against FGM. And now we are engaging university students now to conduct research, collect data about FGM, and even talk about these things in classes. They give examples when it comes to medical classes. We have taught medical students about FGM. That is one way that we are avoiding medicalization of FGM. We've taught students who are learning about education about FGM, and now we are sure that as they're going to be teachers, they will teach about FGM. We've taught students doing theology about FGM, and we are sure that even as they go to their classrooms, they are going to teach about it. The other component that I would really like to say that it was an innovative way that we engaged FGM was, one, And I'm glad to say this is that part of the work that we have at the UNFPA Youth Advisory Panel. And as the chair, I was elected to represent UNFPA Kenya in Senegal, where we had the Global Roundtable Youth Conference on FGM. That is where we formed the Global Youth Consortium against FGM with colleagues like Masti and our executive secretaries and other leaders. And I think this was outstanding, one, because we had an opportunity to experience other cultures that are also practicing FGM. We got an opportunity to learn from young people from over 70 countries on the best practices that they are using to fight FGM. We came back with the same energy, and now we engaged and formed amazing avenues. We empowered our grassroots organization. We empowered panels like the Youth Advisory Panel of UNFPA, and now we've been able to advocate globally, but we also have the implementation happening locally. That was an innovation that I really think has really changed the conversation. It has enabled us to advocate, but we are also moving together with other countries in making sure that we achieve the 2030 vision that we are going to end FGM. So that innovation has been able to change our perspectives. It has allowed us to know that in Cameroon there is FGM, in Senegal there is FGM, but these are the best practices that they're using. Some of these best practices are the best practices that we've engaged here. We've been able to engage men and boys. We've been able to know that boys have an opportunity to fight. And now, the community became better. We've been able to have the opportunity to counter FGM in humanitarian settings where FGM has happened, where, we have like in Dadaab, camps that are happening. We are able to really advocate from the grassroots. This has been able because of the communities that we met there, and now we are advocating locally, and we are also engaging globally. So those are two most innovative that I really think has changed the conversation when it comes to fighting FGM. And I think we have an opportunity to engage so many other young people, as well as now create a very powerful African network like the Global Youth Consortium, which is global. And now we have networks across the country. That is the only way that I really think has been able to change our communities, because our communities even admire us walking into those countries and bringing change and advocating in ways that really engage us. So I really think that there's so much that we need to do, but so far so good. We've been able to, we can at least celebrate what we've been able to do, and that has been because of the conversations like these that we've been able to have. Thank you so much, and back to you, Elomo.
Wow, thank you so much, Leshan. And I must tell you, I just became an MGN champion because I'm going to join in this fight. Yeah,
Thank you.
like
Welcome.
seriously. So,
Thank you.
so let me go over to Mercy. Mercy, would like to hear from you. What are some of the most successful initiatives your organization has used to reduce the practice of FGM? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Elomo. With the Global Youth Consortium Against FGM, we recently we were launched this February, and so far the work that we have done as the Global Youth Consortium, because this is it's a movement of different young people across the globe, that's the world all over, coming together to work together to end female genital mutilation. And our goal is to end female genital mutilation by 2030. So this is a movement of young people, organizations coming together to end female genital mutilation. So in the region of East and Southern Africa, I will speak generally, not only for the region, but in general. The consortium, some of the successful activities that we have had in the region, we've had youth, in Kenya, like Christian, he was able to, launch and start FGM clubs in schools, primary schools and high schools, where he goes ahead to sensitize young, pupils in school, on female genital mutilation and also on sexual reproductive health rights and menstrual hygiene. So this is something that we have not had been done before in respect to female genital mutilation. But being able to catch the youths when they're still young and being able to give them the message and tell them this practice is bad. By the time their parents or people in the community come in to tell them, oh, we want you to get mutilated, they already know that this practice is bad. It is a prohibited practice. It is something that is not wanted and something that they should fight against. And the education and sensitization not only happens to young girls in school, but also the boys. That is supporting what Leshan has just previously talked about conducting sensitization in universities. So I think you can see that through the consortium, we are having youths, link together their efforts. While Leshan has been doing this in universities, we are having youths doing it in primary school and high school. Yeah. Something apart from that, we have also had initiatives. We have innovations that are currently ongoing from youths from Uganda who are coming up with technologies that are going to be used to fight against female genital mutilation in the communities. How to report, how to collect data, so that we can improve means through which we can accelerate the fight against FGM. And I think in the previous session, we had Arefa who shared about the collective effort and action that we took as a consortium to fight against female genital mutilation in Sierra Leone. He reported the issues that were happening in Sierra Leone of 14 girls who had undergone the cut, unfortunately. But through raising his concerns to other members of the consortium, we were able to put out a statement, a public statement that got the attention of the government of Sierra Leone, and these girls got medical attention and the community was sensitized. So, I mean, those are big and tremendous wins that the youths have been able to achieve through the consortium in the fight against female genital mutilation. Back to you, Elomo. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mercy. And I like the fact that you mentioned technology. Technology is one key tool. Technology is one key to fighting against this cause. So I think that more focus should be on technology because it's going to go faster. Not saying that other strategies are slower, but I think technology is a key tool. So going over to Deborah. Deborah, um,
Yes.
we would like to know what are some of the most successful initiatives your organization has used to reduce the practice of female genital mutilation. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, viewers. Some of the movement or the actions taken by my organization to eliminate FGM is advocacy. For instance, in 2019, we had a roadwork on ending FGM, which we collaborated with other civil society organizations, and it was massive. It was carried out here in Ebonyi State, Abakaliki, Ebonyi State, and we're able to sensitize people on the dangers of FGM. Then in 2020, that's last 2 years, we are able to also organize a FGM program. By the grace of God, I carried out the program in my own community, Ohofiagba, initial local government area of Ebonyi State, with the help of my organization, where we invited the community leaders, we invited the religion leaders, we invited girls, women, men as well, and it was huge. We were able to sensitize and raise awareness on FGM. And to the glory of God, we were able to set champions, girls who we appointed as desk officers, and those are the people that contributed, positively during the awareness, and those are the people we confided on, and we know that if things are actually going wrong, they can actually relate to us. So we're able to carry out the awareness and the program, which lasted for 1 day. Then from there, we took it up, started going to schools, churches to sensitize people, and most especially sensitizing boys as well. The reason why we go to schools is also to, get both girls and boys involved. For instance, during my own time when we were growing up, they told us that girls, you need to take care of yourself, you don't allow men to touch you and all of that. But they failed to also include the male folks into this advice, knowing fully well that they are the champions. Like, for instance, the activities we had so far, when you see men, coming to advocate for women, you see the equation is actually, balancing and all. So we're able to go to schools, we're able to meet with government officials, community leaders, to sensitize them. And right now, we are also embarking on a project sponsored by the UNICEF. Is also a program, a movement for good to end FGM, and this has to do with technology. You share the link, you get people to pledge, to end FGM. So when they get into the link, they pledge. So those are the things we've been doing lately to ensure that FGM is eliminated, and also working with other civil society organizations, and also raising awareness in the universities, secondary schools, churches, marketplace. We also had a program in the marketplace the other time, last year as well, where we sensitize people as well. So when you get to tell them about FGM, you have succeeded in impacting that knowledge in them. Even most of them in the rural communities, they don't actually understand what it's all about. But when you try, raising awareness, creating awareness, they become conscious of what it's all about. So that's what we've been doing so far with the help of Inspiring Generation and Humanity Support Foundation. And to the glory of God, I also partner with the Nigerian Girl Guide Association, NGGA, a non-governmental organization that trains girls to become a responsible adult citizen. So we've been going to schools, so many places, carrying out projects on our own, individually and collectively, to ensure that FGM is being eliminated. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mercy. And I think FGM is a fight for all. So that's a good strategy, going to the market and to schools and to, So we'll go over to, let me go back to Mercy. So, Mercy, apart from these initiatives, what are some of the success stories you can share with us today on FGM? Thank you.
Sorry, my mic is muted. All right, thank you so much. So, apart from the initiatives that we have had as a consortium, some of the success stories I would say that probably I could share about is, seeing older women that have been in support of the practice. For example, from Uganda, during during one of the sensitizations that we had recently, there's one that we had last week in one of the schools in Benin in Sebe, Uganda. We had a sensitization within school and also out of school, and we had older women, coming out and saying that the practice needs to be abandoned. So to get older women that have been circumcised, a lot of times you've seen most of them have been supporting the practice a lot of times. But to see them come out openly and say, yes, the practice should be abandoned, and continue to support protecting their girls and showing up to report cases, is really it's a great progress. And so during that community engagement, some of these women came out and were telling us about how they have been at the forefront of going ahead to report perpetrators, report parents, fathers who are advocating for FGM, or even mothers who are stealthily hiding or taking their children to be sacrificed. One of them was sharing with us and was saying how she at one point had to hold one of her grandchildren, refuse with the grandchild because she knew there was a danger of the child being circumcised, the grandchild being circumcised. So having such stories really inspires us to keep going and keeps us, pushing, and gives us hope that that yes, we can end the practice, and yes, it is possible to change the mindsets of people. It's possible to create, to have change in social norms in community. Thank you. Over and back to you.
Thank you, Mercy. Thank you. And yes, it is possible. Yes, we can. So we go over to Leshan. Leshan, over to you. Apart from these initiatives, what are some of the success stories you can share with us today?
Thank you so much. And I really do appreciate the conversation is really going on well. Some of the success stories that we have, and I will start with you. You said a few minutes ago that you started to be a champion. That is one of the success stories we have. And other success stories really cut across so many conversations. I'll start with my own success story. My own success story is one very different one because I've been able to convince a lot of my colleagues to see this as urgent. I think that is the number one priority. I've been able to convince elders, I've been able to convince mothers, I've been able to convince leaders that this was urgent. That is one success story that I can talk about. The other success stories is the amazing initiatives that are coming on board because we have inspired them into this conversation. Personally, I can say close to 5 or 6 organizations have been started as a result of my advocacy. Some organizations have started even to go into places that we are not into, like mental health for survivors. There are community-based organizations that are focusing on that because they've seen that these young girls who have undergone FGM require mental health support. Others like child protection rights advocates who are coming out to teach children on their rights, to tell young kids and young girls that even someone touching on your genitals is a crime already, leave alone doing FGM. That is a success story. We've seen so many organizations come up. We've seen university students come into grassroots community-based organization, carry out research and all of that. Look at other success stories like the president of Kenya having committed personally to end FGM personally by 2022 this year in Kenya. That is a success story. Even though we have not achieved it yet, it just shows that we are right steps toward the right direction. Another success story that makes me happy is when I was awarded by the president as one of the most influential young people doing amazing and outstanding efforts to end FGM in Kenya. That is a success story. Another success story is when I got the award from Princess Diana and one of the most outstanding young people doing great work in public health. That is some of the success stories. And this inspires us, inspires other activists to get into the conversation, to know that even as we advocate, we are also being celebrated. And I think those are some of the success stories that we can really celebrate. We have seen communities like in Kenya, we have had communities who have declared to cut short the practice of FGM. We have communities like Samburu, communities like Maasai, communities like Somali, who have decided that they will end FGM because they've seen that it's priority. If the president thinks that it's a priority, then it's a priority for everyone. So those are some of the success stories to speak shortly that we think that really inspire us even to the next conversation. Even as we see young girls come out and even advocate for themselves, we've seen young girls actually become champions and talk to their colleagues, form anti-FGM clubs, form community-based organization. It just gives us hope that we are not only going to fight FGM alone, other people are also going to engage and they will go to the places we have not been able to. So those are some of the success stories. And of course, the story continues. We will have one of the biggest success stories in 2030, even as we celebrate that the FGM that is being practiced is going to end. Thank you so much. Back to you, Elomo.
Wow, powerful. Thank you so much, Leshan. And let me go over to Queen. Queen, apart from these initiatives, what are some of the success stories you can share with us today? Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I have so many success stories. For instance, I have FGM champions in our rural communities in Ebonyi State. And each time I visit them, I see how they are working passionately, in deriving the end, in moving this ministry or mission forward. And also to those secondary schools we visited so far, You see their teachers, the principals calling, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? So those are the success stories I have. And also my wonderful mom as well. You know, the last program I had in my community, thank God for my mom, she was able to call her fellow women and also they gathered. So the last time I traveled to go check up on them, they came and they were telling me so many things, you know, how they were able to tell people about FGM and all of that. Even the men that were finding it difficult to reach out to them, you know, all of them, they are now champions. So those are my success stories. And also to my organization, Inspiring Generation and Humanity Support Foundation, they are doing so well. And today we're able to, you know, conquer some communities in the state. And also the police, the last roadwork we had, the police, they were all there, you know, so many people from different fields, they came, and even medical practitioners, you know, and when we try, you know, reaching out to them, you see them, you know, testifying that things are actually working out fine. So those are my success stories, and I'm so glad, I'm so happy that today, you know, I'm able to do something. I'm able to pose as a champion to end FGM. And also on social media, things I do on social media, you see people commending you, you see people telling you you are doing so well. So those are my success stories, and I'm so glad to do this. And I know by 2030, FGM will be the story of the past. Thank you, ma'am.
Wow, and I keep cheering you up. Go Messi, go Messi, go. So
God, queen. Thank you, ma'am.
okay, so we'll go over to Mercy. Mercy, there is a day term used to downplay FGM called medicalization. I don't know if it was you or Leshan who mentioned medicalization, but I think you can handle this. Medicalization of FGM. Can you shed more light on this, please?
Oh yes, thank you so much. As regards medicalization of FGM, I did mention it earlier on when I was talking about some of the challenges that we face, you know, in the advocacy and the fight to eliminate FGM in our communities. One of the emerging practices that we have seen come up today is the medicalization of FGM. You know, this is where doctors and surgeons, doctors in hospitals and nurses are now going ahead to carry out the practice in medical facilities or even at secret places where they go ahead to use, to carry out the practice. Um, it's been majorly like there's been an increase in the practice of medicalization of FGM, especially in the Arab states, Egypt, Yemen, and uh, the practice has been happening where, you know, since we are having the government ban the practice in other areas, now people are pushing to go to medical personnel to carry out the practice because it's considered, you know, much faster or much safer. I think Leshan will shed more light since he's a clinician and has done some research more um, into the practice, into the aspect of medicalization of FGM. But in relation to the fight against FGM, medicalization of FGM comes as a threat to the fight to push for the abandonment of FGM, because we have seen doctors come out to publish articles talking about, you know, if the practice is, you know, done in the hospital, is it much safer? Is it, you know, does it reduce the risks involved compared to when it's done by a traditional cutter? But all in all, we'd like to say that mutilation, whether by a medical doctor or a non-medical doctor, is bad and is not a practice that we'd like to encourage. But this being a new innovation, being a new aspect that is emerging, we'd like we are having youth, as youths we are pushing for, medical councils to pass it as a law and as a regulation that all doctors take an oath or swear that they shall not practice medicalization of FGM or support patients or their clients to carry out FGM. And any doctors or nurses that are caught should be, should be first disciplinary action. And yes, continued practice should have them, have their license scrapped off so that they cannot be able to practice as doctors or nurses anymore. Because how do you continue the perpetration of violence against women as a doctor and as a nurse, somebody that's supposed to keep his or her community safe? So I think Leshan can shed more light on it since it's his area of specialization. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mercy. And I keep asking, are there no more pressing issues to solve in the society than to be busy on a woman's body, on her body parts? That's my question. That's what keeps coming to mind. We have so many pressing issues to handle in the society. So what is it with a woman's body? So we go over to Leshan to address this question. So Leshan, over to you. The medicalization, can you shed more light on medicalization? Thank you. Hi, Queen.
I mean,
Hi, Mom.
Would you want to add a
would you want
little,
to add a little,
throw some
throw,
light on medicalization of FGM,
throw some
please?
light on medicalization of FGM, please?
Okay, thank you so much, Mom. Medicalization of FGM is a situation whereby FGM is practiced by health professionals, whether in public or in private place in a woman's or a girl's life. So medicalization has to do with FGM practices that is being carried out by some health professionals. So that's what medicalization is all about. And it should be discouraged. The last engagement I had with UNICEF, that was 2 weeks ago, it was discovered that people in the urban community, the rate of FGM in urban community is higher than even in the rural community. But before now, I used to think that rural community, maybe because they don't have access to, technology, that they don't actually, they are not civilized enough. So to me, I used to think that the rate of FGM in rural communities would be higher. But after everything, after the data we collected, we're able to discover that the rate of FGM is even higher in urban community. Why? Because some medical and health professionals practice FGM, and people from rural community travels a long way from that rural community to urban community to ensure that their grandchildren are being mutilated. You see, so when medicalization is in place, you discover that the rate of FGM will just be, it will be high. And during the program as well, we're able to, interview nursing mothers, young mothers, to know if there was anything like, advocacy or awareness during postnatal or during antenatal. And according to them, they said no, that nothing was said about FGM. And these are the people, these health professionals are the people that are supposed to help us and carry out this and let people know that, see, as you're coming here, when you give birth to this child you are carrying, you are not supposed to circumcise that child if that child is a girl. But you see, sometimes because of the money they will receive, because those people are actually paying them, they go ahead and perform the practice, not even minding that it's harmful. So medicalization of FGM has to do with harmful practices. Punishable. It's a punishable offense. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Queen.
you.
Okay, so let's listen
Queen.
briefly to
Okay, so let's
Leshan.
listen briefly to Leshan.
So Leshan, can you shed some light on medicalization of FGM?
Can you shed some light on medicalization of FGM?
Okay, I think we lost Leshan once more. He's
Okay,
on
I
the
think we
field
lost
actually,
Leshan once more. He's on the field actually, so
working. So that is why he keeps coming in
working.
and out.
So that is why he keeps coming in and out.
So we'll go over to Mercy.
So we'll go over to Mercy.
Mercy, we have a deadline of 2030
Mercy,
to
we have a
eliminate
deadline of
female
2030
genital
to
mutilation.
eliminate
How
female
realistic
genital
is this,
mutilation.
please?
How realistic is this, please?
All right. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
Elomo.
Thank you so much, Elomo.
I'm having a bit of echo. I don't
Having
know
a
if
bit
it's
of
on
echo.
my.
I don't know if it's on
Sorry, Queen, I think you need to mute your mic.
Sorry, Queen, I think you need to mute your mic. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So as regards, is 2030 realistic? You know, a lot of times we've had situations where we put, we put out and say, we need to have this done by 20 this, we need to have this done by 2000 and this, and the time comes, and a lot of times we find sometimes we make it, sometimes we do not. But is it realistic to say that we can end FGM by 2030? Yes, I think it's possible. I mean, with all the effort that we have made so far, as a, across the continent in the fight against female genital mutilation, coming from a place where the practice was openly being done and the celebrations happening on during the FGM, the cutting of women and girls in communities, to a place where our governments have gone ahead to ban the practice. You know, in Uganda, in Kenya, in Tanzania, our governments have gone ahead to put laws banning the practice, to people being arrested for perpetrating female genital mutilation, to communities being sensitized. Yes, I believe we can. It is realistic to say by 2030 we can end FGM. If we all collaboratively put our efforts together like we are doing and putting in more effort, I believe we can. With innovation, technology, with laws being put in play, with all of us choosing to be advocates and champions, of the fight against female genital mutilation, I believe, yes, it is realistic to say that by 2030 we can end FGM. Like today, we now have a new recruit. We have Elomo on board as a champion. So yes, the more we keep going, the more we keep pushing the message, the more we keep, advocating for it. I believe we can be able to attain success by 2030 of eliminating FGM in our communities. Nothing is impossible, and I believe yes, we can. Thank you, Papa.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Let me go over to Deborah. Deborah, do you have a take-home message to our audience? And I am aware you have I think a pledge. You have a link here for me to share. So over to you. Take-home message and about the link you shared. Thank you. Can you unmute your mic, please?
Sorry. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. My take-home advice to everyone who is listening to me right now is to ensure to try your possible best to ensure that this message is spread all over the world, wherever you find yourself. All right, in school, in the office, in the marketplaces, wherever you find yourself, ensure that you carry out this message. Ensure that you champion yourself as, you know, FGM champion, so to say. All right. So I know that it's not easy, but then we are out here to, to do it. And I know it's so possible to achieve with a little effort, with all our efforts, our collective effort. I know that is going to be achieved. And female genital mutilation, as it is a harmful practice and it should not be encouraged. So wherever you are, as a girl child, as a woman, you should understand that your body belongs to you and nobody has any right to mutilate you. So wherever you are, make sure that you carry this message and together we can end FGM. And I want to encourage my team members to keep up the good work. By 2030, 2035, by the grace of God, FGM will be a story. Then coming to the link that is displayed on the screen is a movement for good to end FGM by UNICEF. So the Inspiring Generation and Humanity Support Foundation, IGHUSUF Africa, is implementing this project. It's a movement for good to end FGM. And this program is targeted, like I said, to end FGM in Ebonyi State. Now we have pledge here to make, and here you have to follow the link. When you follow the link will direct you to a place where you will sign. You will see options where you will sign, I pledge to end FGM. So when you get to the link, just click on the link, then your email will be required. Then you click, then you see a place that will tell you to submit. Then you submit it. You have successfully pledged to end FGM. Thank you so much. Together, we can end female genital mutilation. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
And yes, we can. And I call on everyone to take the pledge. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's just go over to the comment section. Queen, can you mute your mic, please?
Sorry.
So we are going to go over to the comment section. We have some comments from our participants. We have from Michael. I love the conversation. FGM should be a thing of the past. We have from Mativo, definitely FGM is a priority. We have from Nancy, like seriously, aren't there more pressing problems on earth to focus on? Why do they have to randomly hurt young girls all in the name of tradition? I wonder. And Nancy once more. So how can I, as someone who is not part of an organization, assist in the fight, considering the fact that FGM is not being practiced in my area of habitat? So I don't know if someone wants to take that.
Yes.
Okay, Mercy.
All right. So Nancy can join the Global Youth Consortium because we do have youths from across the globe. It's a
Okay.
movement of young people from across the globe. So you can join the Global Youth Consortium. I think. Let me put the link. Let me share the link so you can share it out.
Okay.
So you can join the consortium. It has young people from across the globe. It doesn't matter where you come from, as long as you are passionate about fighting against female genital mutilation, you're welcome to join the movement. You're welcome to join the
Okay.
consortium, and you'll be able to meet with other young people from different parts of the continent and the globe at large who are championing the cause in the fight against female genital mutilation. Let me share the link.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mercy. Um, so while
So
you share the
why
link,
why share
I'll
the link?
continue
I'll continue
reading the comments.
reading the comments. Reading out the comments.
Um,
I
Queen, can you mute your
Queen,
mic,
can you
please?
mute your mic, please?
Okay, Samira says, I can't believe such archaic practices still exist. Um, Commu Derek says, thanks for sharing. Hashtag NFGM. We have Nancy once more. Great job, Leshan. Do you carry out activism in Cameroon? Unfortunately, Leshan left, but I'm sure he's going to get back to this question. We have greetings from Ramses, says hello from Paris. And then, so we come back to Mercy. Mercy, can you give us your take home message to our listeners? Thank you.
All right.
Can you,
Thank you. Sorry, I was just getting the link to share with you. I have posted it in the private chat. I think you have seen it. So you can broadcast it out. So my final message to the viewers and to the people that have joined us today and all the youth across the globe, the youths in Africa, the people that support, the cause against female genital mutilation. My final message is: let us not give up. Let us keep pushing. Let us keep going to these communities. Let us, reach every person within our space, within our circles. Let's have everyone come on board. Anyone and everyone come on board to join the fight against female genital mutilation. And it's up to us, the youth, to end FGM in our generation. Yes, with the youth of today, we are pledging that we would like to end FGM in this generation. So all the youths out there, let's join hands, let's join efforts, and let's push to end this practice. The generations that come after us ought to be safe and ought to enjoy the right and freedom of choice. My body, my choice. As a woman, as a girl, there are better things to do. Like Elomo says, there are better things to focus on than to focus on mutilating a woman's body, a girl's body. So my body, my choice. I choose to protect my body. I choose to protect the body of every girl and every woman out there. So let us push. We are here to end FGM in this generation, and I'm calling out on everyone: join the cause. Let us push to end this in our generation. Thank you.
yeah, and I say once more, yes, we can. My body, my choice. So here is a link to join the fight against FGM. There's the link displayed, and like I said, many are busy, and will be joining us later, and we are going to have recommendations. We are calling on all the viewers, the listeners, to chip in their recommendations, and we are also going to have this on our YouTube channel. So we are looking forward to having your recommendations. Thank you. So I don't know if any of you have any last words before I
I
conclude.
Okay, thank you. I also want to encourage each and every one of us and the viewers to always make use of your social media handle. Social media is one of the tools you could use to fight FGM. I'm so glad to hear that FGM is not being practiced in some part of the world. Like the last comment that was read here, someone said that the harmful practices is not obtainable in her place. So, and that's a good news so far. So I want to encourage you to also make use of your social media handles. You have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you know, use it to advocate, use it to, you know, to voice out, you know, the effects and the consequences of female genital mutilation. And through this, other people across the world will get to know that this thing called FGM is harmful and is not supposed to, you know, to be carried out on a girl or on any woman. So let's make use of our social media handle. Make sure that you join this movement for good to end FGM. And together we can end FGM. Thank you so much and God bless you for joining. I love you.
Thank you so much, Queen.
Thank you so
And
much,
yes,
Queen.
we can.
And yes, we can.
Okay, Mercy, you have one last word?
Okay.
Or...
I'd like to add that you can follow us on Twitter and on Instagram, the Global Youth Consortium Against FGM. On Twitter, I think it's Global FGM. You can look us up on Twitter and on Instagram. You can just, like Queen has said, I'd like to support, she has said, let us use the available tools as the youths to advocate and also to put the message across to other youths. You know, recently I was attending a Twitter space and I realized that some of the youths out here, you know, out there are not in touch with the realities of, you know, the gross violations that FGM, you know, the negative impact. I would not like to say the negative, the bad practice of female genital mutilation, the bad impact, the negative impact it has on women. And you know, some people were joking about how, you know, someone could choose, you know, and I think let us use our different channels and social medias out there to advocate against the practice, to show the world that this is not a practice that ought to continue, that yes, we need to fight against it and let people be aware so that we cut the cycle and stop the practice in our generation. So thank you so much for the opportunity to share and be here. Looking forward to more engagements. Look out for our work. If if you're in East Africa, please look out for us. We have activities going on in different communities. If you'd like to join, feel free to DM us. Feel free to reach out to FabAfriq. They could link you to us so that you can take part. Some people would like to donate pads. Some people would like to offer sensitization. Some people would like to offer support. In whichever way, if you'd like to join the movement, feel free to join, to reach out to us, and we'll be able to incorporate you into the activities and the work that we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear panelists, and thank you for throwing light on FGM. And we are looking forward to doing greater things, greater activism with you girls. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye-bye. So we have now come to the end of our live session on accelerating investment to eliminate female genital mutilation. And I would like to state that FGM is a harmful practice and should be eliminated. The woman is your mother, your sister, your daughter, your friend, and by hurting her, you are shooting yourself on the leg. So it is not a fight for one person. It requires the collaboration of everyone to put an end to this harmful practice. And we will be having our last session of this webinar next week, and we are going to have high-level professionals who are going to talk more on female genital mutilations. Thank you, and see you next week. Bye.